when we eat, which is really important. When we eat, we still have to acknowledge we have to eat sometimes. Somebody's going to, sometimes you're going to, if you intermittently fast, if you're going, 20 hours without food, you're going to have breakfast or you're going to have dinner. So yeah, there's going to be something on your plate. It's really important also what's actually on your plate. And that's what this next half of this episode is about, is what we should eat when we are eating. And maybe the best way to start this really, though, is to talk about what definitely shouldn't be, or not definitely shouldn't. There should be a lot less of on that plate.
Right. Well, the big killer is sugar.
Yeah.
Glucose, particularly fructose, is also pernicious. And if you give animals lots of glucose, and especially fructose, they will get fatty liver disease, they'll get diabetes. It's really bad.
And this one is like absolutely not controversial, right? Like we're going to talk about meat later and people are going to be like really up in arms. But if you say like the big killer is sugar, there's not like a group of people that's going to come hunt us down. Like sugar is bad.
It is. And
why?
Well, why? Well, there are two reasons that glucose is bad when it spikes. Three if you include the brain fog. But let's just talk about physiology here. One is that you're going to have glucose attached to proteins that makes them glom up. Think of it like caramelized body parts. This will ultimately lower your longevity, reduce your longevity, give you type 2 diabetes and probably cardiovascular disease on top of that. So that's one, keep those glucose levels down. But also what glucose is going to be doing to you at high levels is shutting off those protective mechanisms. Remember, particularly AMPK and the sirtuins, they get switched off by sugar. So by having that up for most of the day, if you're eating 3 meals plus snacks, your defenses against disease and aging are going to be working at a minimum. So instead, keep those glucose levels low and consistent. You won't get the brain fog. You'll get fewer proteins modified that'll lead to disease. And thirdly, importantly, you'll actually stimulate your body's natural defenses against disease and aging.
So sort of like the first step, sugars. Let's get rid of the sugars.
Yeah. On that note, by the way, I gave up dessert at age 40, though occasionally I steal it, and it doesn't count if you steal it, right?
No, I think there's like a special little pocket it goes into that doesn't count against
it's invisible.
Any of your, right. Inside Tracker doesn't pick it up.
Right. Well, here's the point. You can quit something, but you don't have to be draconian about it. I still like to steal a few scoops of ice cream if I see it, but I'm not going to eat a giant bowl of ice cream every night. That's a quick way to shorter lifespan.
We're not trying to ruin everybody's joy.
No, not at all. Often when I give talks at dinners, people skip dessert after I've spoken. I feel bad about that.
Well, you remember we were talking about doing an experiment where we would have a conversation around a table with people and then have the servers come with like a birthday cake or something and just like watch them.
We still should do that. But yeah, so glucose is a bad one. Something else to avoid is super high protein because mTOR, it can be activated, but you don't want it activated all the time because it's not going to turn on the autophagy, the defenses to recycle proteins.
And this one is going to piss a lot of people off.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who believe that carnivore diets are the best for longevity.
And for some people, a lot of aminos are appropriate.
Well, certainly if you're an athlete or you want to bulk up, there are short-term gains. You'll feel better if you eat meat. You'll obviously have the protein to build up that muscle. But we can go through the evidence. When you look at populations of what they eat and how long they live, as well as the short-term effects when you eat a high-protein, carnivorous, red meat-based diet, those changes will be good in the short run. But long-term, there's no evidence. In fact, I would say there's counter-evidence to that being beneficial for longevity if that's your goal.
And that's because of the inhibition of TOR.
In large part, yes. The sirtuins will also get switched off by high protein as well.
So aminos are important. We have to have them. If we don't have them, we die. But you can get aminos from plants as well as from animals.
Yeah, it's funny when I say I've gone vegetarian recently, which is a fact.
Where are you going to get your protein?
Yeah, where do you get protein from? Well, what do you think plant's made of? It's also mostly protein. Now, they're not as bioavailable, so you're getting like 2/3 the amount as you would from a steak.
Your body has to work a little harder for it.
Great. Yeah. I want my body to work harder. It's good for it. It burns energy. And it's also activating these defenses, as we mentioned. So I'm now trying out this a full vegetarian diet. I'm not yet vegan, but that actually probably works even better for longevity as the science